Hello and welcome to ABP Live. I have with me today the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Anwar-ul-Haq, and we are going to understand from him that the historic visit that is happening by External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, what does it imply for the bilateral relations of both the countries? Welcome to ABP Live, sir, and thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
I know your time is less, but just to understand from you, we've seen that External Affairs Minister has finally landed, and the fact that, this is happening at a time after almost 9 years that we are having an External Affairs Minister in Islamabad. How is Pakistan viewing it?
For Pakistan, it's quite a happy moment that all of the leadership of SCO is here, including India. India is the most, or one of the most important neighbor. We've got a history, no denying that, a checkered history. But at the same time, I personally feel that if we need anyone in this region to be engaged with, the most important player is India. And in my own assessment, it applies to India as well. That in the entire neighborhood, if there is a challenging situation to the Indian polity, to the Indian political order, it is from Pakistan. So both the players, I think so, they need to engage with one another, they need to talk to each other, they need to communicate. It's high time. The globe has morphed, the world has transformed. From post-industrial revolution, now we are entering to the so-called fourth industrial revolution, and God knows what is ahead in the technological advancement on the Western Hemisphere and the rest of the world. So if we choose to remain and dwell, I mean, you can learn from the history, but it is not that helpful if you start dwelling in history. It's high time we try to give new shades, to give new nuances, and to bring back the communication channel between the people, between the governments, between the intelligentsia, media, and instead of that traditional approach of accusing and reinforcing all the accusations against one another is not the way forward. I think the way forward is that we do understand our relative positions, which is quite strong on both sides, and while appreciating the both positions, we should start an alternate channel in which there is an honest discussion rather than a clever one.
So what do you mean when you talk about an alternate channel, and also the fact that you are saying that high time that both countries, both neighbors need to communicate with each other? Do you think this visit could be a small window towards that?
Well, why not? This visit can be a small window, and even if this window is squandered, I will still remain sanguine. I will still be an optimist. We should not quit quitting. We should try always. And by trying always, I mean whenever there is a small window of opportunity or there is a large or a huge opportunity, we should exploit both. And the idea that is there a realization on both sides that do we need one another? Do we need to talk to each other? Do we need to talk to each other in an honest manner instead of clever manner? It's not about winning or losing. It's about appreciating one another. It's about understanding one another.
Right, you're right. But Mr. Kakar, we've heard the kind of statements that come. Both countries have tried to have a normal dialogue, but as India says that terrorism and talks cannot go together. How do you view that? And cross-border terrorism remains a challenge.
Well, my small suggestion is that we should not conditional our talks, neither Pakistan nor India. We still have the choice to do it. And Pakistan also has a very strong opinion. I come from the province of Balochistan, and people openly accuse Indian state that they are supporting, financing the terrorism acts over there. It is the Indian taxpayers' money which is being spent on the blood spilling in my province. And that in thousands and thousands. People are suffering there. But what do we do if we take a position that until and unless India doesn't accept its guilt, it doesn't apologize, it doesn't stop, we can't talk to India? We can have such an obstinate position, but is it healthy? Is it required for that so-called grand dialogue which we are thinking of in the region? Pakistan and India, again, I would suggest, this is my suggestion, that instead of accusing one another, we exactly know what we have done to each other. Let's explore the reasons that why do we think these proxies are leverage for one another? What is the official line of thinking? What is the intelligentsia and the general public, the civil society think of those such positions? What are the political parties thinking? What is the establishment of both the countries? Every country has an establishment. We qualify it with military, but sometimes it is non-military establishment, but the establishments are there. Maybe RSS equates that in Indian case. What is the thinking over there? Is there is a receptiveness or there is a repulsiveness in larger Indian society towards engagement with Pakistan? And if there is receptiveness, why is it so? And if there is a repulsiveness, why is it so? So I think so we need to explore one another more.
Also, last year, when you spoke at the UN, you gave quite a speech on the fact that, how Kashmir is being treated. Now we've seen Kashmir undergoing, it just participated in Lok Sabha elections and the turnout was huge. And also now the assembly elections have happened and very soon they might be getting statehood as well. How is Pakistan viewing those developments?
I mean, this democratic exercise, electoral exercise, is important to any democracy, any liberal democracy. I mean, we've been having both Indian dominion and Pakistan such exercises for almost 100 years when there was a British Raj. But we still resisted that arrangement and we went for the self-determination and independence and wanted to exercise and choose for our own political destinies. It is a good exercise for as far as municipal functions are concerned. But when it comes to the question of the destiny of nation or nations, then such exercise at times becomes a cliche and it loses its actual meaning and essence. I personally feel no matter how healthy the exercise is, it still does not equate to the will of the people of Kashmir. Because the Kashmiris...
Why do you say that?
Why? Because
we saw a huge turnout participating.
Absolutely. I'm not disputing the number or the turnout over there, and neither that is my target. I'm not disputing those numbers. What I'm suggesting over here is that in this conflict where thousands and thousands of people have been killed, and they've not been killed so that they can go out and vote one day and then they elect their representative in their legislative bodies. That history is there where they can translate their choice and identify themselves that who they are. And that question is important, the question of identity. Who are the Kashmiris? Are Kashmiris Indians or are Kashmiris Pakistani? This is the prime question once it is addressed, once it is answered, and that answer has to come from the Kashmiri people. That's why I feel this is secondary, no matter what sort of democratic exercise is there.
And so my last question to you, to understand also from the fact that, when you speak about all this and you also speak about the resumption and how there should be no preconditions, where do you really think the solution lies? Because we've seen that, Prime Minister Narendra Modi he's having his unprecedented third tenure. Do you think within this tenure there could be some kind of channel that will open up?
I wish him all the best for this tenure, and even if he get another tenure, any politician would dream of having such continuation of stint in a liberal democracy, and he's quite fortunate to have one. The issue, again, while this appreciation, I would not link it with one individual or a political party or a political order or a political philosophy. I think so. 1 billion plus Indians and 250 million Pakistanis are the most important player in the saga. And it is for them. It is for them to decide what they want to do with their future. Do they want to squabble and have wars and engage in mutual destruction of one another? It's their choice. They can do it. Or they choose otherwise. And if they want to choose otherwise, can they make their egos idols and start worshipping their own respective egos and achieve that lofty moral goal at the same time? My simple answer would be no. I think so. We have to take a back seat and think about deeply and delve in our past and think about and peek into our future, that what lies ahead of us and for our children, for our generations. And that is very, very important. So yes, Mr. Modi is a very important player on the Indian side, but eventually, I think so, it is the people of both countries who would determine, who would decide. So the thinking of one individual is equally important to me. If I start thinking positively towards engaging India, it matters. If you start thinking positively towards engaging Pakistan, it matters. And that's how it would grow.
Sure. Thank you for talking to us. So that was former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Anwar-ul-Haq, talking about how it is imperative that for both neighbors, India and Pakistan, to resume the dialogue. For ABP Live, this is Nainima Basu reporting from Islamabad.